It was nearly midnight, and the rain hadn't let up for hours. The golden arches of the small-town McDonald's flickered in the downpour, casting soft light on the glistening asphalt outside. Inside, Alex Ramirez wiped down the last booth, humming quietly to the crackly old radio behind the counter. He'd worked the night shift here for almost 2 years, long enough to memorize every combo meal, every regular customer's quirks, and every creak in the fry station. 23 years old, soft-spoken, and quick to smile, Alex never complained. He didn't have time to. Between this job and raising his 11-year-old sister Lena after their parents passed in a car accident, he barely had space to breathe. But he managed. Somehow, he always did. Homework checks, grocery runs, double shifts. It wasn't glamorous, but it was theirs. The door chimed. Alex glanced up, surprised. Most nights were quiet by this hour. A man stepped inside, hood up, water dripping from the brim. He moved slowly, like someone who'd carried more weight in his life than groceries. Alex watched him approach the counter. "Just a black coffee and 2 plain cheeseburgers," the man said, voice low and gravelly. Something about the voice made Alex pause. Then he looked closer. The eyes, the jaw, the posture, it was unmistakable. Clint Eastwood, right there, in his soaked hoodie, ordering off the dollar menu like any regular Joe. Alex's heart stuttered. He fought the urge to say something, ask for a photo, a signature, anything. But instead, he nodded calmly and punched in the order. The register blinked. $5.63. Alex reached for his wallet and slid in a 10. "I've got it," he said quietly. The man raised an eyebrow. "It's on me," Alex added with a small smile. "Thank you. For the movies." For a moment, Clint didn't move. Then he gave the smallest nod, a quiet acknowledgement, and stepped aside. Alex bagged the food with practiced ease, scribbling something on the brown paper with a Sharpie before handing it over. The message was simple. Thanks for inspiring a kid who needed it. Clint took the bag, glanced at the words, and looked back at Alex. Their eyes met. No fanfare, no applause. Just a look between 2 men, one who had seen the world and one still trying to find his place in it. And then he was gone. The rain had stopped by morning, but the air was heavy with something else, like the sky hadn't quite made peace with itself. Alex showed up to work as usual, still thinking about the quiet man from the night before. He hadn't told anyone. It didn't feel like a story you posted online. It was more like a secret you carried, a moment just for you. He clocked in, tied his apron, and was halfway through prepping breakfast patties when his name crackled over the headset. "Alex, manager's office, now." His stomach dipped. He rinsed his hands, wiped them on his jeans, and made his way to the back. Inside, his shift manager stood stiffly near the desk, but it was the man seated behind it, a regional supervisor in a too-tight tie, that made Alex pause. "Close the door," the supervisor said. Alex did. "We reviewed last night's security footage," the man began, voice clipped. "You gave away food without authorization. That's theft." Alex blinked. What? "No, I paid for it. Out of pocket. It was..." "You didn't log it as an employee meal. You didn't record it in the system. It was a gesture. He didn't ask for anything." "That's not the point," the supervisor snapped. "The point is procedure, policy. We're not running a charity." Alex looked between them. "I didn't think kindness needed a form." The room went silent. "We're letting you go," the man finally said, effective immediately. Just like that. No second chances, no review, no thank you for the years he'd worked back-to-back holidays or closed alone when others called out. Alex stood numb. He handed over his name tag and walked out into the morning light, feeling smaller than he had in years. By the time he reached his car, the sting of it hit. Not the job, that had always just been a means to an end. It was the message behind it, that decency could be punished, that doing the right thing quietly could still get you burned. What Alex didn't know, what no one knew, was that the man he served the night before had noticed everything. And Clint Eastwood never forgot a good deed. The next evening, just past 9 p.m., the Golden Arches buzzed with the usual rhythm, fryers hissing, headsets crackling, teenagers grumbling through headset orders. It was business as usual until the front door chimed. He walked in with the same quiet gait, wearing the same worn hoodie. But this time, everyone noticed. The staff froze. A couple in a corner booth stopped mid-bite. One of the newer employees leaned over the counter and whispered, "Is that?" It was. Clint Eastwood scanned the restaurant, eyes sharp beneath the hood's shadow. He stepped to the counter, and the manager on duty swallowed hard. "I'm looking for the young man with the kind eyes," Clint said, voice low and unmistakable. The staff exchanged glances. No one said a word for a second too long. Then someone spoke up. Alex? He doesn't work here anymore. Got let go yesterday." Clint stood still, letting the words settle. His expression didn't change, just the faintest twitch in his jaw, like something inside had clenched and didn't want to show it. "I see," he said. Then he turned and walked out. No drama, no threats, just the quiet kind of exit that leaves a ripple behind. But someone had been watching. A local woman sitting near the window, early 30s, flannel shirt, laptop open, latte half finished, had caught the entire exchange. Her name was Tina Carlson, a freelance writer and part-time blogger with a sharp eye and quicker thumbs. She posted a photo of Clint walking out into the misty night, along with a caption, "Witnessed Clint Eastwood come into our local McDonald's asking about a young employee who gave him a free meal. Turns out the kid was fired for it. No words, just a nod. Then he left." Apparently, kindness has a price. Alex deserves better. She hit post and closed her laptop. By midnight, the tweet had 12,000 likes. By morning, it had 120,000, and by noon, it had been picked up by TMZ, BuzzFeed, and CNN. The headline on one post read, "McDonald's fires worker who helped Clint Eastwood, actor responds with silent grace." Alex hadn't said a word, but the world was about to start shouting for him. Alex didn't own a Twitter account. He was too busy juggling real life, interviews, rejection emails, rides to Lena's school, and figuring out how to stretch their last paycheck through the week. He had no idea his name was trending until his friend Jasmine sent him a screenshot with 3 words, "Dude, you're famous." He stared at it, confused. Then his phone buzzed again and again. Dozens of texts poured in, notifications lighting up like a Christmas tree. A friend from high school, an aunt he hadn't heard from in years, even a former teacher. By the time Lena came home from school, Alex's phone was practically overheating. She ran in holding her tablet. "Clint Eastwood talked about you on the news." Alex blinked. "What?" She spun the screen around. A video clip played, grainy footage of Clint walking out of the McDonald's, paired with a voiceover. A blurred tweet from that Tina Writes Things hovered on screen. The employee didn't want recognition, just gave the man a free meal. McDonald's policy called it theft. The internet calls it heart. And heart it had. Within 48 hours, a petition demanding McDonald's reinstate, Alex hit 500,000 signatures. Hashtags exploded across platforms. Justice for Alex, Eastwood effect, kindness is not theft. Even celebrities weighed in. A-list actors, talk show hosts, and activists. Some offered job referrals, others offered money. A few just said thank you. News vans began showing up near their apartment. Alex ducked out the back whenever he could. The attention wasn't what he'd wanted. He hadn't done it for a selfie or story. He just saw a man who'd given the world something and decided to give something back. Now the whole world knew. But Alex didn't feel proud. He felt overwhelmed, anxious, embarrassed. Lena begged him to do an interview, He said no. A local paper left flowers at their door. He tossed them in the trash. All he wanted was to move on, quietly, start fresh. Maybe at a mechanic shop or the hardware store. But fate, as it turned out, had already set something bigger in motion. And someone else had been watching all along, ready to make a call. It was a quiet Wednesday morning, the kind where the sky still couldn't decide if it wanted to rain or shine. Lena had just left for school, and Alex sat at the kitchen table, half-dressed for yet another job interview that probably wasn't going to go anywhere. His tie was crooked, his hope lower. Then came the knock. 3 firm taps on the front door. Not urgent, not casual, intentional. Alex opened it to find a man in a dark suit standing on his porch. Mid-40s, military posture, expression unreadable. Behind him, a sleek black Lincoln idled at the curb, engine humming like a sleeping cat. "Alex Ramirez?" the man asked. Alex nodded slowly. "Yeah." The man extended a business card, embossed gold letters. Michael Carver, personal representative to Mr. Clint Eastwood. "I'm here on behalf of Mr. Eastwood," Carver said calmly. "He'd like to speak with you, in person. He's invited you to his ranch near Carmel by the Sea, if you're willing." Alex blinked. "He wants to talk to me?" Carver nodded. "Privately, no press, no cameras, just a conversation." Alex glanced past him at the car, then back at Carver. "Why?" "I think you already know." He didn't. Not really. But something told Alex he should go. "Can I bring my sister?" "She'll be well taken care of. Mr. Eastwood has arranged everything." 20 minutes later, Alex stood outside the car, suitcase in hand, heart thudding like he was heading to a job interview with fate itself. Carver opened the door, and Alex slid into leather seats that smelled like cedar and history. As the car pulled away, Alex looked back at the apartment, the chipped paint, the rusting bike on the porch, the life he'd been surviving in. Somewhere between here and Carmel, everything was about to change, and he didn't even know why. Clint Eastwood's ranch wasn't a mansion. It was something quieter, more dignified, nestled among coastal hills, weathered by time and still standing strong. Alex stepped out of the car into the smell of eucalyptus and ocean air. Carver led him up the path, then opened the door to a sunlit den where Clint Eastwood sat by the fireplace, a mug in one hand, eyes fixed on the window. He turned as Alex entered. "Mr. Ramirez," he said, "glad you came." Alex stood frozen for a moment, unsure what to say. Thank you for inviting me." Clint motioned to the chair opposite. "Sit, let's talk." For the next hour, they did. No cameras, no press. Just 2 men from very different worlds, finding common ground in unexpected places. "I saw what you did that night," Clint said finally. Didn't say a word, just handed over a bag with a message. "Most people, they want something when they recognize me. You gave something." Alex shrugged. Didn't seem like a big deal. "It was," Clint said simply. "Kindness when no one's looking, that's the kind that matters." They talked about Lena, about Alex's parents, about the grind of working nights and trying to hold a family together with coffee and duct tape. "Not a lot of people get noticed in jobs like yours," Clint said, "but I noticed." Then came the pause, the lean forward. "I've got a film going into production next month, could use a PA. It's not glamorous. You'd run errands, keep things moving, but you'd be part of something, learn from the inside." Alex blinked. "You want me on a movie set?" Clint nodded once. "You see people others don't. That's a gift in this business." Alex sat back, unsure whether to laugh, cry, or shake someone. "I don't know anything about film." "You'll learn," Clint said. "I'll make sure of it." Outside, the wind rustled the trees. Inside, something long asleep in Alex stirred to life. Possibility. The first day on set, Alex showed up 2 hours early. Not because anyone told him to, just instinct. He stood off to the side, Eyes wide as trailers were rolled in, actors rehearsed, and crew members lugged lighting rigs across the dirt lot like it was just another Tuesday. Clint's new film, The Last Range, was an old-school Western with modern heart, dust, grit, and all. And Alex, fresh from manning fryers and wiping down booths, was suddenly a part of it. His job? Everything and anything. Coffee runs, script copies, keeping people on schedule. He held boom poles, untangled cables, drove cast members to remote shoot locations, and never once complained. When something needed doing, Alex was already halfway there. His hands worked fast, but his eyes worked faster, always scanning, always learning. By week 2, the crew had started calling him Radar. "You've got sixth sense, kid," one of the camera grips joked. "You're like Clint's shadow." Alex just smiled and kept working. Offset, life was changing too. Clint had helped relocate Lena to a quiet neighborhood in Monterey and arranged for her to attend a top-rated public school. She started wearing her hair in braids again, humming as she packed her lunch in the morning. For the first time in years, she didn't have to worry if the power bill had been paid. Sometimes after set, Alex would pick her up and take her to the beach. They'd watch the waves, eat gas station snacks, and talk about things that had nothing to do with bills or survival. For the first time in years, Alex wasn't just enduring life. He was living it. It happened on a Thursday. They were shooting a pivotal saloon scene when the actor meant to play a bartender called out sick. The crew scrambled. Clint glanced around and without missing a beat pointed at Alex. "Get him a vest," he said. "He already knows the blocking." Alex froze. "Wait, me?" "You look like you've poured a soda or two," Clint said with a rare smirk. "Let's make it count." So Alex stood behind the bar, wiping down a glass in take after take. No lines, just a presence. But the camera caught it, the stillness, the ease, the authenticity of a guy who had actually worked behind a counter, who knew how to stay invisible but essential. That night, someone on set posted a photo to Instagram. The kid who got fired for giving Clint Eastwood a burger is now in his movie. By the wrap party, the crew had embraced Alex like family. The production designer brought him a PAMVP trophy made of glued-together coffee stirrers. Even the grizzled old sound guy gave him a one-armed hug. When Clint stepped up to speak, the room went quiet. "This was a hell of a shoot," he said, "but I want to thank someone who reminded all of us why we tell stories in the first place." He looked at Alex. "Because decency still matters, and sometimes it shows up in the most unexpected places." The room erupted in applause. Someone filmed it. Someone else uploaded it. By morning, it had gone viral again. But this time, Alex didn't feel embarrassed. He felt seen. 3 months later, The Last Range premiered at the historic Chinese Theater in Hollywood. The marquee lights flickered, camera flashes filled the air, and a long red carpet stretched across the sidewalk like a welcome mat to another world. Alex stood near the entrance in a borrowed suit, Lena at his side in a sunflower yellow dress. She squeezed his hand as they posed for photos, not because they were celebrities, but because someone had decided their story was worth telling. The movie was a hit. Critics praised its honest storytelling, its sweeping cinematography, and tucked quietly in a few reviews a particular saloon scene that felt unusually authentic. But it wasn't just the film that got attention, it was the story behind it. The fired McDonald's employee who gave Clint Eastwood a free meal and ended up working on a film set? It was too good not to share. Variety ran a feature. People magazine dubbed Alex the accidental Hollywood hero. Even 60 Minutes requested an interview. But Alex kept it simple. He used the attention to speak, not about himself, but about choices, about kindness, about how one moment can tip your whole life in a different direction. He spoke at high schools, community centers, youth programs. He didn't tell kids to chase fame. He told them to chase character. The moment you think nobody's watching, he'd say, is usually when someone is. It came in a white envelope with gold trim, McDonald's Corporate Communications Division. Inside, an apology letter, typed and official. It referenced regretful overreach, brand values, and a sincere hope to move forward. There was also an offer, a corporate PR position, or the option to own and operate his own franchise, fully funded. Alex read it twice. Then he folded it up and slid it into a drawer next to his old McDonald's name tag. He sent a polite email declining both. A week later, Clint picked him up in his beat-up Ford pickup. No press, no suits, just two men driving down a coastal highway, windows down, breeze full of salt and sunlight. They pulled into the parking lot of the same McDonald's where it all started. The neon sign still buzzed. The same cracked pavement in front. A few new faces inside. Alex ordered 2 large fries and 2 sodas. They sat in the back corner booth, his old cleaning spot, letting the world slow down for a moment. Clint dipped a fry in ketchup, then leaned back and looked out the window. "Funny thing," he said, squinting at the horizon. "What's that?" Alex asked. Clint smiled, eyes glinting like the first time they met. "Sometimes the best stories start with a little trouble at the drive-thru.